pick one of your
Well,
faves.
I'll talk about True Romans All. So we worked with, or rather we were supported by the Bell Shakespeare's Mind's Eye program to develop a street game based on Julius Caesar. And we took the first act, basically we took the play up to Act 3, which is where the assassination happens, deconstructed it, used the text from the Shakespeare, not all of the text, selected bits of the text from the Shakespeare, historical text as well from Julius Caesar's writings, etc., to construct a live event on the streets where an audience of 40 people move around the streets of Melbourne, encountering actors, doing things.
Some of them getting inducted into the conspiracy and some of them
going and meeting with Caesar and joining the government, and slowly discovering through interacting with actors that there is a revolution happening, that there is an assassination attempt being planned, a coup being planned, and deciding whether or not they want it to go ahead. And so we place that moment of do they kill Caesar or not? Does Brutus stab Caesar or not? Essentially in the hands of the audience by getting them to do things, and depending on how they played,
and how committed they were to the actions that we asked them to do,
determined the outcome and whether or not Caesar was killed or not. We had about 7 or 8 different.
We had 12 or 13 endings.
We had a lot of endings.
Yeah.
And in fact, several of the nights that we ran it, they improvised their way through the endings anyway. Because
it wasn't one of the ones that we'd come up with.
Yeah, because when you throw players into a thing, they crack it open and they do things. So the very last time, you can tell the story.
So the very last time, the two groups of audiences, the conspiracy guys and the regular guys, were actually colluding over Twitter because two of them had found each other over Twitter, and they were trying to broker a peace deal actually over Twitter. And so at the end, when they came to Caesar and Caesar's doing his big speech, and they were going to try and broker peace so no one would die. And then at the very last moment, one of the people trying to broker the peace accord decided instead to grab, we had permanent texters instead of daggers, so red permanent texter, and she herself stabbed Caesar.
Yeah. So complete random nobody from the Senate, not even from the Senate, just from Vox Populi, racing up and assassinating Caesar.
Yeah, one of the citizens of Rome decided to take it upon herself to assassinate Caesar.
And what's wonderful about that is it completely reconstructs the Shakespeare, the thing that you know about Julius Caesar. It gives, and we've done several kind of events where we've taken familiar plays or familiar literature works, cracked them open in this way and given them to players to say, here are the given circumstances and conditions of the game. How can you make it different? How can you tell this story differently? How would you live through this experience differently? Which I think is a fascinating way not only to experience the world, but also to learn about other worlds. So the Julius Caesar, we had kids come, we had a school group come through. They weren't studying Julius Caesar. I don't think they were even studying Shakespeare.
No, I don't think so.
But after 90 minutes of running around on the city streets, they knew there was a guy called Julius Caesar. He was killed by someone called Brutus. There was this conspiracy about it. They knew all that sort of stuff. Not because they'd learnt it in school, but because they lived a memory of actually being part of that conspiracy.
You have a twiddle.
No, that happens.